recently read How to Begin by Bungay Stanier. A life well lived is full of worthy pursuits. A worthy pursuit is something you find thrilling, important, and daunting. Thrilling means you're eager to wake up each day and do it. Important means it will benefit more than just yourself. And daunting means it demands more than what you are currently capable of. A daunting pursuit requires dedication and experimentation. Identify your worthy pursuit this year by considering pursuits in 3 possible areas: projects, patterns, and people. Project pursuits focus on achieving something, like creating a podcast that gets 1,000 downloads. Pattern pursuits involve new ways of being and behaving, like wake up at 6 a.m. every weekday to read and journal. People pursuits involve improving your interactions with people. For example, being a better friend, being a more patient and playful parent, or being a more confident team leader. Think of one pursuit in one of those areas that you want to make a priority this year. Then turn it into a worthy pursuit by increasing the thrilling, important, and daunting scores until your pursuit feels like a calling. Sadly, most people's pursuits score high on just 2 factors. Their pursuit is thrilling and important, but not daunting, which is too comfortable, and they're likely to regret not doing more. Or their pursuit is important and daunting, but not thrilling. These pursuits feel like an obligation. Or their pursuit is thrilling and daunting, but not important. This leads to empty wins because the pursuit doesn't benefit others. Avoid these 3 pursuit pitfalls by increasing your thrilling, daunting, and important scores to at least a 6 out of 7. First, increase the thrilling score. Author Bungay Stanier began a project in 2021 he called Create a New Podcast, but didn't find the project very thrilling. After writing and rewriting different versions, he crafted a more thrilling pursuit: create a new professional grade podcast. Creating a professional grade podcast seemed like a thrilling intellectual challenge because he had to get really good at something he's always enjoyed: asking people questions and having meaningful conversations. If you need to up your thrilling score, think of how you can make your pursuit a fun intellectual challenge and a vehicle for becoming great at something you've always wanted to be great at. Next, increase the daunting score. When Bungay Stanier assessed the daunting score of creating a professional grade podcast, he realized it wasn't challenging enough. So after a few more revisions, he upgraded his pursuit to be create a podcast that is in the top 3% of all podcasts within 12 months. This pursuit gave him just enough anxiety to stoke his ambition and dramatically increase his focus. Draft different versions of your pursuit by tweaking the scope and timeline until you discover your Goldilocks zone. Something not too hard, but not too easy. A goal that you can't achieve on cruise control. Discovering the Goldilocks zone is like an alien discovering Earth, a planet that's the perfect distance from the sun to allow life to thrive and grow. Now, increase the important score. When Bungay Stanier strived to create a podcast in the top 3% of all podcasts, he also increased his important score. Because by being in the top 3% of podcasts, his podcast would reach more than 10,000 people a month and likely have a positive impact on a good portion of those people. Increasing your important score may require you to increase the scale and reach of your pursuit, or simply notice how your pursuit is indirectly improving people's lives. While reading How to Begin, I selected the following pursuit: complete 5 sets of push-ups or pull-ups every day for the rest of my life. This pursuit was thrilling because I've always wanted to be someone who could do 50+ push-ups or 20+ pull-ups at a time, which I'd be able to do if I stuck with this pursuit. The pursuit was daunting because I made it every day and for a lifetime, a fun challenge that would force me to consider new strategies. But the pursuit didn't seem overly important until I realized adopting a strength training pursuit would allow me to live longer and contribute more to my family and the people I serve through this channel. When you increase your pursuit's thrilling, daunting, and important scores to a 6 out of 7 or higher, it becomes a worthy pursuit and an irresistible quest you must begin. If it doesn't, try adding a killer action verb. Bungay Stanier found that launch a podcast motivated him far more than create a podcast. When I upgraded my pursuit from complete 5 sets of push-ups or pull-ups every day for the rest of my life to crush 5 sets of push-ups or pull-ups every day for the rest of my life, I found that I was far more excited to get out of bed and complete my first set each morning. Here are 7 great action verbs you can put at the start of your pursuit to make your pursuit more irresistible: transform, launch, crush, devour, revive, supercharge, and kickstart. Now that you have a worthy pursuit, it's time to commit to it. Commit to your pursuit by explicitly stating why the prizes of your pursuit far outweigh the prizes of the status quo. See your pursuit like a trip through the galaxy on a rocket ship. You're trying to stay on course, but you're constantly pulled off course by gravitational forces. The giant planets and stars that create those gravitational forces represent the benefits of the status quo, like comfort, familiarity, status, authority, and control. Stanier says, until you understand your commitment to how things are right now and why you don't want to start your worthy pursuit, it's almost impossible to free yourself. Take 2 minutes to list the prizes you will enjoy if you don't start your worthy pursuit and maintain the status quo. Then list the prizes you expect to receive if you do pursue your worthy goal. Now take 2 minutes to write out the punishments you'll face if you maintain the status quo, and the potential punishments you'll face if you embark on your worthy pursuit, like temporary setbacks, frustration, and embarrassment. Your status quo punishments may include quiet suffering, a lack of fulfillment, and living with the knowledge that you could have done more with your life. Maintaining the status quo can also punish people around you if you become bitter and resentful of people taking risks and enjoying worthy pursuits. Now, if you've successfully identified more worthy pursuit prizes than status quo prizes, and fewer worthy pursuit punishments than status quo punishments, you have wind at your back and are ready to begin your worthy pursuit by creating a reliable practice. A reliable practice is simply a series of small steps you trust yourself to take consistently to keep your pursuit alive and well. Find your practice through experimentation and iteration. Try several recommended practices until you find something that works for you, then simplify it and streamline it. Through a series of week-long experiments, I found that doing each push-up and pull-up set to half exhaustion with more than 15 minutes between sets, as renowned strength coach Pavel Tetsuin recommends, and then adding air squats as a third exercise option has allowed me to keep my pursuit alive. The process of finding a practice is like an entrepreneur testing different mobile app products. The majority of the apps they make don't gain traction. But when one app starts to generate sales, they commit their time and resources to iterating that app until it generates a steady stream of revenue. Be a worthy pursuit entrepreneur by taking risks and experimenting with different practices until you find an effective practice. Then iterate that practice until you have a series of simple daily steps you can reliably perform to generate a steady stream of progress. That was the core message that I gathered from How to Begin by Bungay Stanier.